What is going on, guys? This is obviously Jordan here, back again with another video, experimenting with a brand new camera angle and that. I think I'm not even on focus, but there you go. That should be a bit better. What was I gonna say? Today we're talking about how to start a podcast. Obviously, by the nature of my channel thingy majiggy, the title. There you go. That's what I was looking for. And this all comes because, of course, if you don't already know, I've started my own podcast, the undergraduate survival guide. If you want to watch that, it's basically just me talking to other students and young professionals about like their experiences with university, early stage career growth, and all things around being 18 to 22, all of that, relationships, finances, careers, studying, all of that. So check that out if you haven't already. But since I've started that, three people I know actually have started their own podcasts. Shout outs to Moses for starting his own podcast recently, actually. Straight to the Cup, that's a basketball podcast. And obviously, my friend Brian, he started, well, a group of us started the Halftime Tangerines, a football podcast. That's also very cool. Check that out if you want to check that as well. I'll put links all these in the description below, by the way, just so it's all there for you. And everything that I recommend for this whole video is all going to be down below in the description anyway. So definitely check that out. There's going to be so many resources there for early podcasters, people looking to think about getting into podcasting. I'm going to try my best to get from low budget to like infinite budget. I'm not going to do much in between because me myself, I'm like very early stage. I'm basically it's very much like a hobby. I do see the business potential in it. I do see the value in the UGSG. But as of right now, I'm not taking it too seriously. And me myself, my budget is basically zero. I mean, I have a few pounds to spare, but I'm not looking to like invest loads of money into it. So I'm gonna talk as honest as I can from my experience. I'm not going to if you're like a if you have this like very niche idea, you want to take it like a proper business standpoint, and you've got like a big budget, maybe this isn't the best video for you. I mean, I'm still going to try and address a relatively broad perspective on the issue, but fundamentally, I'm going to be talking to people that are in the same place as me because I don't want to give out information that's wrong. I don't want to like lie to you guys or speak on something that I can't really, with my own experience, back it up. So that's just a bit of a preface before starting this video, a bit of a disclaimer, I guess. But fundamentally, yeah, it's going to be for like beginners, relatively low budget, and some of it will appeal to the upper end as well. I'm going to try my best to be somewhat balanced, but yeah, that's all that. So let's get started. So the first thing that applies to literally every single podcast that people always seem to overlook this or to forget it, and it's something that I've been very adamant on from day one. This is what you have to do. This is what's important, and it's branding. It's your whole brand, not just like your name, also your logo, also your if you're going to use social media, like how your page is going to look, how you're going to tweet, what perspectives you're going to be sharing news on, and it's like making sure that everything you do is on brand. But of course, first of all, like having that well-defined brand that people can recognize and that people can, when they see it, it's like this is an accurate representation of what that podcast, what that brand, what that show is. Obviously, the first thing that comes into that is your logo. I think people forget. I even forgot when I first made my logo as well. It has to be square. Like podcasts, everywhere you look, if I get up my UGSG logo now, like it's a perfect square. That's just because that's how these directories, these podcasts and platforms, I guess, how they show all of their what's it called? All their logos. Like these are the podcasts that I listen to, or there's some of the podcasts I listen to, I guess. So you can see literally all of them here are just they're all square. And the reason then for that is because they have to be square, basically. So yeah, making sure your logo is square. That's something that is very important. And again, making sure that it's visual, because it literally is a visual representation of what your brand is, what your show's going to be. So it has to be obvious, not like overtly obvious, but like to some degree, people have to know what they're getting when they see your logo, and also the name. Like I'm not going to go into this too much because the whole branding thing. I imagine if you're looking to start a podcast, you already know what you want to address and you already know what you want to get out of it. Like if it's just going to be you talking to your friends, joking around, there's no need to have this like very articulate logo and it's like precise name because fundamentally it's going to be like in conversation with Jamal or something. Like there's no need to be specific. The logo can be a picture of your face like that. Like, yeah, talking to people. But if you are looking to take it more seriously, obviously think about your branding, think about your logo, your title, your social medias, and all these things that come into it. And yeah, the best platform for that, the platform that, I say the best, I think it's just the best for all budget levels, to be fair. I use Canva, I use their free plan. Most people that do any digital design, not like for career or something, I'm just talking about if you make posters or whatever, you probably heard it on Canva before as well. Obviously, if you do use the premium service, you get access to more more templates. You get access to more of the elements and pictures and stuff in different font sizes, things like that. You can experiment with more things if you pay for the full version. But otherwise, the free plan is very comprehensive. It's very, very cool. Because I've got the whole Adobe Creative Cloud, I also use Spark sometimes. Spark is a bit better in terms of it's got an app, and I feel like it's a bit more free flowing. I work so much quicker when I use Spark compared to when I use Canva. But Canva is also, as I said, it's very, very good. It's free. For most people, I recommend it. And I mean, for everyone, really, I recommend it. I don't think it's worth spending bare peas on like Photoshop, for example, unless you know what you're doing. But it's just good to have those ready-made templates, and it makes it very, very easy for you. So yeah, there's that. That's a good one as well, actually. I've got notes, of course. If you do want to invest in your logo, obviously you can only make it as good as you can. But if you do want to put some money into it, if you have a bit of a bigger budget, use Fiverr. Fiverr is like an outsourcing website. Yeah, it's called Fiverr because everything's worth like $5 in theory. Some of it's worth a lot more. But it's like use Fiverr, outsource your work, and if you're going to outsource it, try and look for like a social media pack. Don't just buy a square logo, because then you can do it yourself quite easily, unless you really want to pay for it. But if you are going to use Fiverr, I strongly recommend you get like a proper social pack. Where I should really bring my other phone with me so I can show you guys this. But if I go to my UGSG Instagram through my Instagram, I pressed the wrong button there. You can see like all my posts look a certain way, and it's designed to look like that. Like I've used the same color scheme, I've used the same video formats, I've used the same everything, so it's all on brand, and so you recognize it when you see it. And again, if you are going to pay someone to make this for you, try and pay for the whole package. Try and pay for the social media pack. So you have your colors, you have your video templates, you have your post templates, and all of that as well. I don't know how much it's going to be. I haven't tried it myself. I did all this on my own, but on Canva and Spark, and it looks pretty good. So that's my recommendation. But yeah, that's essentially that. The next thing is obviously equipment. Now, as I said, this is going to be talking from the low budget, from the beginner standpoint. And for the low budget beginner, all you need really is a microphone. And that kind of sounds like, well, duh, what do I need? But literally, if you just invest in, to be fair, like your phone is a pretty good starting point anyway. Most phones, well, basically all phones, based on like just facts, phones are originally communication devices, right? They have microphones on them. So if you just use your phone, you can talk into your phone as a microphone. That will record your audio on the microphone. It will also store it on the phone storage. It records it itself using the phone software, so that's all pretty useful. Your laptop as well is also a very, very good shout. But I strongly recommend you just buy a microphone here. It doesn't matter too much, but I think when you consider a podcast as literally just audio, like you're only hearing it, so it just makes sense to make that small investment for the big difference you get with a typical like lavalier clip-on microphone. Me myself, I went out and bought a Blue Snowball. It was like £35, £25 even. And then I recently upgraded that again to the Blue Yeti, which is like 150, I think. So it's very expensive. Don't get me wrong, the Yeti is very expensive. But the Snowball is like 30 quid. And if you want like a little lavalier clip-on mic, you can get it for like 5 to 10, maybe even £20. Well, that's quite a lot to be fair, but like 5 and £10 on Amazon. So I'll put links down below for the best lavalier mic I can find. And also, well, to be fair, my old mic was a lavalier mic, so I'll find that one, put a link in the description below, as well as a Blue Snowball and a Blue Yeti. But yeah, I mean, if you're not taking it too seriously, if you haven't got a big budget, I will just use your phone or your laptop anyway. Should be good enough. But of course, a small investment can take you a very long way when it comes to sound quality. So just bear that in mind, I guess. There are a lot of other things. Like if you do plan, again, this is designed for the low budget, low skill, person here. If you do want to go all out and like ball out, take it seriously with your specific niche, again, this isn't the right video for you, but just in case you're like in the middle somewhere, if you do want like the best possible microphone quality, you want to get an XLR mic, like a microphone with like a XLR, what's it called? Cable, basically. Because USB mics are pretty good, but I think XLR, I think they're designed for like proper sound equipment. You get your audio interfaces, which is like a mixer or a soundboard. You can get your audio recorders, which is like an actual digital recorder. And once you get the full setup, obviously it's going to sound far, far, far better. And I think this is especially important if you have a show like mine, or maybe like a bit more diverse than mine, where you try to interview guests. Like if it's just you can literally just sit down. I really need to stop not charging. Literally, battery's actually dying again, but it doesn't matter. Hopefully, I can make it through the rest of this video. Last time we were talking about how to start a podcast. I say last time, it's literally the same video. And I finished off talking about XLR mics before my camera camera died on me. But essentially, yeah, XLR mics are way better, I think, because if you get like a proper audio interface, as I was saying before, you can connect several mics, or if you have a proper, not just a microphone on its own. To be fair, this is more of like the mixer or the soundboard, whatever. You can use that to to record and hold your sound, which is a great way to split your different sound waves. Like I said, with my show, guest or someone with like even more guests, more diverse show, it means you can have like multiple sound layers. This makes editing so much easier. It makes blocking words or separate parts out so much easier, and it just means you can get general way better quality. Like obviously, as I said, we're targeting like a lower lower budget podcasters. So obviously for me, I've got a typical mic, a USB mic, which is still good, and I use Skype for my interviews, which is also still very good. But it's like my level of quality is kind of at its peak. It can't really get much better just by using Skype and a USB microphone to really like break that barrier and to get like the top quality. You're going to want a better microphone. You're going to want a proper sound audio interface or a soundboard, a mixer, whatever, and you're going to want to use more professional software. I mean, Skype is good because it's free. Of course, Zoom is good; it's free as well. You can even just use your phone if you really wanted to. Some of these distributors, like Anchor, who I use, they literally you can do your own podcast from Anchor and send the link to anyone to use it as well. But yeah, essentially that's kind of it. One I've never actually used this, but I've heard a lot about it. It's called Riverside.fm. They apparently are like an online audio interface, and it's literally like you log in, you make your account, you pay. I think it's a fixed like a monthly rate, but you pay for it, and then you. It's similar to Anchor, I guess. It's similar to having like an actual soundboard or like a mixer, where all of your audio is stored through Riverside, and that does all of it. That's the whole interface. All the recording is done through there. Obviously, you call someone from wherever you want to call them from, but all of the magic happens inside Riverside FM, and then it gives you can take the file out on different sound layers and stuff. And as I said, I've never used it myself. It's something that I think is very good if you're, as I said, trying to push that upper barrier. But otherwise, yeah, for me, it's just Skype and an average camera and call it a day. I touched briefly on Anchor. I'll come back to that at the end. But before we go into that, I want to talk just briefly about editing. Now, for me, because I have a YouTube channel as well, as you guys are watching me on, and a podcast, I thought, you know what, let me just get Adobe Creative Cloud. I'll probably use Spark. I'll probably use Audition for the podcast. I'll probably use Lightroom and Photoshop for like thumbnails and stuff. I'll probably use Premiere Pro. So I was like, you know what, it's probably worth it. And I'm a student as well, so I ended up paying like £5 a month, I think, or something. I paid like I think it was £16 actually for like for the first year, and now I'm currently paying £24 a month, which is still way cheaper than the actual like fixed price for the entire cloud. So I've got access to every single program for the fixed price of £24 a month, which to be fair, is quite a lot of money. I don't recommend it for everyone. I think it's good for me because, as I said, I have several uses for it. But if you're just trying to start a podcast, if you have a Mac, if you're into the Apple ecosystem, I would get GarageBand. It's free, it's simple to use, and that's probably one of the better softwares out there anyway. If you're on Windows, I go for Audacity, another free platform. It's also very good, and it does all you need it to do. There's really no need to go out and buy Adobe Audition. Like for the pod, if you're making music, yes, great because you have loads of different features and it's very versatile. But simply for a podcast, where all you're going to do for editing is like cut bits out, maybe get rid of background noise, maybe beef up the bass, and like the audio settings. But other than that, you're not really going to be doing too much to justify paying like whatever amount of money it is every month for Audition. You can probably just get away with using, like, as I said, GarageBand or Audacity. So that's just a very brief note. Like, as I said, me myself, I use Audition, but it's hard for me to justify using it other than the fact that I'm going to use a lot of Adobe Suite. Anyway, the last thing is I kind of talked about, again, it's Anchor. We're going into Anchor now. And these are your directories, your hosts, your platforms that you stream it on, whatever. Basically, there are several ones out there. If you want to Google like the best podcast hosts or the best directories, that you can do that as well. But I honestly think the best one, at least for me and for most people probably as well, is Anchor. Anchor's free. You can automatically get them to what's it called? Not broadcast, but to send your podcast to all the other directories as well. Like podcasting isn't quite the same as YouTube. Well, on YouTube, like I record and I upload it straight to YouTube. I have my YouTube account and it's all done. With podcasts, there's no easy way to get onto Spotify, Apple, blah, blah, blah on your own. You can create your own server, build your own RSS feed and send it out manually, but it's way easier and probably more, what's the word for it? I can't think of the right word for it, but if you do it yourself, you have to track everything on your own. Whereas if you do it through a host, you have all your analytics, you have everywhere who's clicking, average your view duration. You can edit, change things in the fly. Like it's just so much easier, I feel like. And not to mention having to manage your own server is very difficult. I'm not even gonna get into. I don't even know how to do it, so I'm not gonna say that. But yeah, I use Anchor. I think the other one was everyone else uses. I think is very very good. We have to pay for it. Is Buzzsprout, and I know they have a free platform as well. But you only get like so many hours per month and access to so many analytics per month. If you want to get the full Buzzsprout pack, you have to pay for it. Whereas Anchor, as I said, is completely free, and that's it. Like, and how it works, how hosting works, is kind of, I guess, it makes podcasting a bit more like YouTube, where it's like you record your audio with a microphone, you upload the clip to Anchor or to whatever host you use, and then they distribute it automatically to everywhere. You know, they add it to the RSS feed. Typically, you need to go onto the site and add your roots to them. So Anchor, as it's owned by Spotify, they literally just go straight to Spotify. But if you want to go to all the other platforms, you can ask them to do it automatically. But it's way better, I think, if you do it yourself. If you create your little account on iTunes and you connect it, and then once it's connected, it's automatic from there on. It's automatically connected. It always updates through the RSS feed provided by your host. I don't know how all the other hosts work. I assume they're basically the same, apart from you have to pay for it. And obviously with Anchor, to be fair, I should really read into all the specifics with Anchor. But I know for a fact yeah, it's optional. They have their little logo on top of your logo, on your square logo. You can get rid of it because, as I said, it's optional. But I do think they have some creative ownership to some degree when it comes. Like, obviously, do your own research. But I think it comes from ads. Like, because they give you ads, you can also ads on the app. I assume take a cut from there. But I'm not at a point yet where I'm making loads of money, where I have loads of views. So I haven't looked into the full legal aspects, I guess, or the commercial information about that. But of course, it's definitely important for you guys to do that if you're planning to take this like to the next level, to grow like a massive podcast. Obviously, look into it a bit more. But other than that, that's all the notes I've got. I don't know why I didn't just speed run this earlier. It's not that much extra content, but but yeah, that's essentially it for this video. So if you have any more questions, obviously ask me down below in the comments. I'll try, maybe later I'll go into more depth. I feel like it was like a brief overview of how I do my podcasting. But if you want like a more in-depth video explaining more of like my analytics, how it works, how to do promotions, blah, 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 let me know down in the comments below. This is obviously the first time I've actually talked about UGSG in this sort of way and my experiences with it. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed it. As always, hit at me. Where did I even get that from? Hit me up in the comments down below. Otherwise, DM me on Instagram, Twitter, whatever your preferred platform is. I've got a lot of guys recently talking to me on LinkedIn, which is particularly interesting. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.